Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. I'm Cage. That is Chair.
Chair.
Welcome. We are nerds. We talk about nerd stuff. And as a result of talking about nerd stuff, we have to talk about Star Wars. Because, today is April 29th.
Today is not May 4th.
But
No, it
May
is not.
4th is this Sunday. And
Yep.
Andor Season 2, first three episodes came out last week on Tuesday, and the next three episodes come out today. I'll be watching after this podcast. And Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary also came out last week on Thursday, and we saw it on Friday. And Star Wars Celebration happened, so there's a bunch of Star Wars news from there. And there's that new animated series, Tales of the Underworld, coming out on Sunday. A couple episodes. I don't know exactly, but
Oh, that's coming out that soon, huh? Wow. We're
I
gonna
think
get
so.
busy here. Back to Across the Stars, huh?
Exactly. But real
Yep.
quick, we're just going to run through some of the announcements that came out of Star Wars Celebration. And the first one is this movie called Starfighter. It's supposed to come out in 2027. It's being directed by Sean Levy, who directed Deadpool and Wolverine, and will be starring Ryan Gosling as the main character. It's a standalone film set approximately 5 years after the events of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and the film will explore a previously uncharted era in the timeline. So Ryan Gosling, that's pretty big, right? Right?
He's one of my favorite actors, to be honest with everybody. Like, I really just love his range. I think he's a really quirky, funny guy, IRL. And it's just he's married and has kids, and he lives a pretty normal life, and he's just a really good actor. And you don't really hear any. Sometimes he pops up like SNL and he does really funny skits. When he's in SNL, he goes like all in, and it's like really good to like see him go all in, like because he is really funny. So as far
Nice.
as my Hollywood star, I'm sure there's like some weird part of his brain that's been absolutely cooked by the absolute raw income and wealth that he's received, and he's just like gone crazy doing drugs in like a Colombian cartel dungeon somewhere or something. I don't know. It's hard to tell these days. Especially
Surely.
after working criminal defense, everyone's got a lot of dirty laundry that they kind of keep under the bed. So there's that always that to think about with everybody. Not just rich individuals, but everybody.
Yep.
But you never know. Anyway, but so with that all being said, I'm Ryan Gosling's great. The era seems a little strange, but maybe we'll see some cool new ship designs. That's one thing that would be great is some cool some more iconic new ships.
Yep.
And we'll just wait and see. Classic one-liner.
Yeah. So that is currently slated for May 28th of 2027, so 2 years from now. And 1 year from now, The Mandalorian and Grogu is set for a May 22nd, 2026 release date. And of course, it's going to be starring Pedro Pascal, returning as the beloved bounty hunter. And it's going to focus on him and his young Force-sensitive companion. And we also...
Din Djarin.
Yes, Din Djarin. And
Din Djarin.
Sigourney Weaver is also in the movie.
Cool.
So
She's a sci-fi classic. Love Sigourney Weaver. She's been in a lot of really weird, really small indie science fiction films that I've seen because I watch them on YouTube because they eventually all get posted to YouTube. And so that's like it's cool. Hopefully it'll be a good movie that'll be enjoyable to watch in theaters, and I'm sure it will be. Like the Mandalorian a little fell off there towards the end because they got a little too deep into the streaming weeds. Where it was like trying to serve as a platform by which all the other shows would launch off from, and
yeah,
that just made it kind of like it kind of made it like the Avengers of the shows, where it's not really about the Mandalorian anymore. It's just about I don't know. But they had a good ending where it's like, okay, he's got his feet up at his own little house, Grogu's sitting out there in his chair and he's just chilling. So maybe this will be the end of his story.
maybe. I mean,
But
alternatively, it's so much about the Mandalorian that the Book of Boba Fett was mostly about the Mandalorian.
the Mandalorian, yeah. You mean the Mandalorian 2.5,
Mm-hmm.
as we all like to call it down here at Across the Stars. I mean the Nerd Ledger.
Yep.
It's just I I don't think I think the movie's gonna be enjoyable. Like, I try to be cautiously optimistic these days. Try not to consume any trailers or anything like too crazy, but hopefully it works out and the movie's great and you and I go and see it in theaters.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yep. Um, so returning TV series, we have Andor season 2, which of course is back, 3 episodes every week. Ahsoka season 2 production officially begins this month, April. It's about to end, so it's about to begin, I guess. Rosario Dawson is returning, as well as Hayden Christensen. He will apparently be back for season 2. They joined directors Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to unveil concept art and behind-the-scenes images. Actor Rory McCann from Game of Thrones, he played the Hound, will take over the role of Balin Skull from the late Ray Stevenson. Other things, I'll skip that one because nobody watches that. Star Wars Tales of the Underworld is another in the line of Tales of...
What does nobody watch? I'm sorry. What does nobody watch?
Young Jedi Adventures. It's like a kid's show.
Oh, isn't that like the one where it's like, "Yo, you dogs, you should join the Empire." It's like pretty cool and stuff. Yeah, I think I've seen little snippets of it. Did you watch all of that?
No, I haven't watched any of it.
Okay, I was about to say.
So, I'm speaking from my own perspective here when I say no one watches it, because the way I see the world is the only way to see the world. So, obviously, it's true that nobody watches it, especially because it's coming back for season 3. So, clearly, there's no demand for more of it. That was all sarcasm.
Sarcasm. Yeah.
But yeah, Star Wars Tales of the Underworld falls in the lines of Tales of the Jedi and Tales of... There was another one. I don't remember. But yeah, it's animated. It's it's an anthology series exploring the galaxy's darker criminal underbelly. So we know Asajj Ventress is coming back, Cad Bane, a couple other characters. So those
Cad
are
Bane, iconic.
Yeah,
an iconic Filoni character.
Yep. And then the biggest news, right? Because they were celebrating 20 years of Lucasfilm animation. And so we get a new announcement, a brand new show called Maul Shadow Lord. And it's going to focus on Darth Maul. And I'm pretty sure it's going to chronicle his time between the prequels and the original trilogy. So, because we know he's in Clone Wars, right? The last we saw of him in Clone Wars was battling Ahsoka on Mandalore. And then we see him...
He escaped.
Yep, and then he shows up again in Rebels, right?
And he was briefly in Han Solo: A Star Wars Story. Let's not forget that very important cameo.
Yep. And so, Sam Witwer, who voices him, spoke a bit about it and was pretty much saying, like, we see him, he's taken in by Palpatine and then betrayed ultimately by Palpatine, and then is given a brother, Savage Opress, and then Darth Sidious kills his brother, and there's this kind of question lingering that hasn't been answered of, like, Darth Maul knows who Sidious is. He knows he's Palpatine, so why did he never say anything? Why did he have this kind of loyalty this whole time to someone who clearly had no loyalty to him? Or, like, what was he doing during this time? And I think that's kind of what it's going to focus on based on his comments. So it's probably the biggest announcement that came out aside from Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I like Sam Witwer. Sometimes I watch his stream on Twitch. He's a really funny, genuine guy. He's also really hot, so that helps a lot.
Yeah.
He was the voice actor for Sidious in all the Force Unleashed games, and he was also the main character in the Force Unleashed games. So, like, literally the main character, because he's, like, again, a really attractive human being. So they just made him into a really, a guy, with his star killer who had to be excluded from canon because he was just running around killing the entire Star Wars.
He's in canon. Don't remember Star Killer Base from
That's not canon. They called it that because they wanted to call it Star Killer Base.
Yeah, but hey, who's it named after though?
Who can tell?
We don't know.
Maybe they just named it Star Killer Base because it blows up because it kills stars to blow up other planets.
You think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You don't care?
Well, I mean, I do care. But,
I thought you were gonna say, unfortunately, you don't care.
No, no, no. I mean, it's just unfortunate that it was named after its functionality and not named after a great character from a video game series.
Yep.
And that great character
Yep.
was based off a Hawkeye named Sam Witwer, who
Yeah,
voiced him.
really hot guy. He's like a really attractive guy. Like, if you haven't seen pictures of this dude, I got introduced to Sam early because I watched a show called Being Human,
Mm.
which is like this drama about a ghost, a werewolf, and a vampire living together in the same house. And it was actually,
But there was one. There was a UK one before there was a. Did you watch
yeah,
the
there
American one?
was. I watched the American one because I genuinely enjoyed that show like a lot. I actually thought it was like a really good, well-made show.
And the UK one had Nicholas Hoult, right?
I have no idea. I never watched the UK one, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think my sister watched it. That's the only reason I'm familiar with it at all. So.
Yeah, uh, I personally thought it was really good. And Sam was amazing in it. He had other partners in it too. I forget their names. We're not talking about them right now, and also because I think one of them went on to do R.I.P.D. or something like that, a movie that flopped really bad. And I haven't seen him since, or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah.
All right.
So and then there was this one lady who was a ghost. She was really good too, but I cannot for the life of me remember her name because I'm a horrible person.
No.
But it was a really good show, and Sam was the vampire, and he wasn't the main character, but a lot of the episodes had to do with the vampire stuff. Let's put it like that.
Nice.
So he was taking the short lead on a lot of things that happened, and it was just a good show. And it was good because of him. It was good because of a lot of reasons, but also it was good because of him. So, and he's obviously a very talented voice actor because he's voice acted with Lucasfilms now for.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's more or less obsessed with Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
He talks about Star Wars both accurately and with a lot of passion. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he obviously really loves it, and it's great that there's someone who's obviously a fan, like working in these things where he's doing this obscure stuff where Darth Maul becomes a crime. The guy that got chopped in half in Episode 1. In the show that a bunch of kids watched, now a bunch of adults, we all grew up now. But he comes back from the dead, and he's like a half cyborg guy who's like powered by sheer hatred for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he becomes like a crime lord and all this stuff, and it's really crazy. And it's just good to see that kind of stuff going like the foreground and like being continued.
Yes, and then Obi-Wan kills him.
Yeah, and then Obi-Wan kills him. Spoilers alert. Obi-Wan does kill him.
Old man on Tatooine Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and what is admittedly a really good, amazing scene.
Yes.
Very Star Warsy scene.
Yes. So that's all the news from Celebration. On top of that, we saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters. And of course, still love the movie. I was not a fan of the people in that theater, okay?
Yeah, I could tell. I feel like the movie's going to be like that more and more, though.
Did you hear the guy, like he's probably like 6 seats away from me, trying to recite every line of the movie, but like continuously fucking it up?
I only heard him 1 or 2 times. I think so. I think I didn't hear him as many times as you did, but I only heard him once or twice, like for the very iconic lines.
No, he was doing it throughout the movie.
I think special event movies are always going to be like that, unfortunately. Like where it's like we're releasing this in theaters, and when a bunch of people go and see it, I think the crowd's always going to be a little rowdy because everyone's seen the movie like 500 million times, so they know like what's in the movie, and they want to go see it with like their friends and have a good time.
I talked to other people who went, and they didn't experience these same problems, including. Right, I asked everybody who I know, like 3 other people who went and saw it at different theaters and different times, and I asked them specifically, did people in your theater start clapping when Anakin was about to murder children?
Murder the younglings? I thought that was funny as hell, though. Like, see, that's the thing. Like, that's just me, though. Like, I thought that was, like, it's that we were in the prime time crowd, though. 6:40, like, that theater was pretty packed. So maybe there was that to consider, too. Like, depending on when they saw it.
So one of my friends went at 7 at a different theater. Right? So 20 minutes after ours, no one clapped for younglings dying during theirs. The problem I have is most people in that theater could probably recite most of that movie. I could recite every single piece of composition in the movie. I've listened to the soundtrack for that movie over the years, probably 1,000 times. but I didn't do it because nobody's there to hear me recite the music for the movie. Nobody's there to hear this wacko recite every fucking line from the movie. We're there to watch the fucking movie.
Yeah. I think that movies are going to be a lot more like that as like time goes on, because like again, movies are getting really expensive now. So when you go and see these things in theaters, you want to feel like you're, I don't know, like getting something for your, something other than the average moviegoer experience, like going to the Minecraft movie, right? Like people want to have, like they want to engage in the japery. They want to. Well, it's not just kids. There were adults doing it too. Like there was two guys in the front seat who were led the clapping and like laser lightsabers. Like when they raised their lightsabers when they when certain scenes came on and stuff like that, and so there were adults doing it too.
They also seem like children to me.
Well, I don't know, I'll tell you.
Like a lot of people, I feel like it's a TikTok thing almost. Like there's this TikTok mindset of like, people are here for me. Nobody's there for you. People are there for the movie. Like you think the expensive tickets would weed out all the people that are like.
No, it's going to make more people. I think it's going to make more people act like that because they're paying for the this moviegoer experience. Like I think as it gets more expensive, it's going to be more rowdy. Like that's what I just genuinely think.
Maybe. I mean, it's been a problem forever as far as like some people just not giving a shit, right? And just like thinking everything's about them. And for Marvel movies, what it is like everyone during big Marvel movies wants you to know that they're the biggest fan in the room. And so what you get is like either people who are the most boisterous, clapping at everything, saying, look at me, or the people that like forcefully laugh as loud as they fucking can at every single joke. And I'm just like, and I remember it happening like really bad during Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So someone behind us was not, we didn't, it wasn't when we went together, it was, I went with Captain Hot Sauce. And someone was right behind him laughing as loud as they could the entire movie. And it was really bad. Like, it's hard to enjoy things when people are like, when people just make it about them. And it's like, nobody's here for you. Nobody cares that you're the biggest fan here. Nobody cares about your...
Well, I don't think it has to do with like them like thinking it's about them. I just think it's like who they are like as a person. Like, like they want to like be loud and they want to like just have a good time and like be rowdy. Like, some people like being rowdy.
Do that
like,
at your house.
I agree, but also at the same time, like, they want to go see this movie in theaters because they want to see it on the big screen, right? Sure. So I think during event movies like that, the people are going to be more rowdy. Like that's going to become more common as time goes on.
Yeah, you just got to go to those movies on like a Monday at 8:30 at night.
Yeah, pretty much. If you want a really quiet movie going experience, that is for sure the best thing to do.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing at I went to a concert last Thursday, which is why we weren't able to podcast last week. I was at a concert and like it was like the second band was up. And it's a sold out show. Like the room is packed, and it's not like a concert at a big venue. Like it's a venue where literally it's all standing room. Like everybody's standing, and so like there's no real bad place to stand unless there's tall people in front of you. Because like at most you're like 50 feet away from the stage, right? Mm-hmm. Like everyone is there close to the stage, and it's a sold out show. It's like packed. Like you can't move from one side of the venue to the other without going through people. That's how many people are in there. And so, like, I was just chilling, and of course people crowd around you because there's a lot of people. And then there was a guy who was, like, kind of by a pillar, and he was, like, on the phone, like, trying to get his friend to come to him, like, trying to, like, make sure people, like, his friend saw him. And I don't know what happened. Like, I wasn't paying attention that much. But then, like, there's the people next to him were, like, talking shit or something. And then he's like, well, you're just being a fucking asshole. And like, they just started like arguing. And then like, he was there for a little bit longer while one of the bands played. And then he just like threw his arms up and like pushed his way through the entire fucking crowd. I'm just like, this is society these days. Like no one can just like chill. Like, like you should know if you're going to a sold out show in a massively crowded room. Like, space is going to get tight. People are going to get annoyed. And, like, you just kind of have to work around that a little bit. Like, every time people walk towards me, I try my best to get out of the way. I'm trying not to be an inconvenience because, like, it's tough. Like, there's people actually working, like, trying to, photographers are going through the crowd trying to get, like, the right angle. People coming around to serve drinks to, like, the VIP section and stuff. And so it's like, yeah, you're there to have a good time, but at the same time, you got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to try to, and I get it. It's easy to be annoyed in situations like that. Like, I get annoyed when people are annoying in a fucking movie theater, but I'm also not going over and saying, shut the fuck up, you bitch, go home. Like, it's whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, people are angsty right now. There's no doubt about that one. And then, like, I think people are gonna again like out. I think people are gonna like act rowdier, like, and that's gonna be more common to see like in theaters or anything like that. Is people like reacting viscerally to the movie because like I don't know, like maybe more people are living together, more people like I just think people like this is what they like doing in movie theaters. They just like being rowdy. Like I don't really consider I consider rowdiness to be something more like just intrinsic to like human beings, like what happens when they gather in groups, rather than like anything to do with like the personal person. That guy sounds like he was like really high and like didn't like getting into an argument and really ruined his vibe. And yeah, maybe shoving through the crowd as being an asshole. So there's no doubt about that one.
Oh yeah, that guy was definitely high.
Yeah. Some people don't like some people don't handle being high in public very well.
Yeah, I don't handle being in public very well in general because I get overwhelmed easily by loudness.
And that's why I think like too like the crowds being rowdy is probably like your worst nightmare, because you just want to watch you just want to watch the movie. There's people that want to go there, they want to watch the movie, and they want to have a good time with like the crowd they're with, or they want to be a little rowdy, like they just like. And what is watching the movie? Maybe when they're at home, maybe they are screaming, yelling at the screen. Some people are just like that.
Yeah.
And it's just it was like that during Avengers. Remember that when people were like shouting in Bombay at the top of their lungs and stuff like that, when the portals opened behind like Cap and everything, and like that whole movie was the whole of not the Infinity War, Endgame was like just the crowd going like pretty nutso for all the big drops.
Yeah.
So
I don't imagine. So we're gonna see Thunderbolts on Thursday, and I don't imagine there's a bunch of big drops during that movie. But I anticipate people over the top laughing at things that aren't that funny, because it seems like it's gonna try to balance like a serious tone, but with like, all these characters are going to be shooting off one-liners, especially Red Guardian, right? And so I just know you're going to have some loud mother suckers in there laughing as hard as they can.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, indeed. All right, let's talk about Andor. The first 3 episodes dropped. I watched them all last Tuesday while I was working, and I feel like I missed a lot. So I actually rewatched the first episode, and I rewatched part of the second episode, but then I stopped because I was getting close to a part that like kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. And it gets worse in episode 3 because it's the same kind of part, but it gets taken to the next level. And so I didn't want to rewatch it. So I rewatched the first episode though. So we start off. It's 1 year later, so 1 year after season 1 ends. 4 years now before the Battle of Yavin. Cassian is undercover as like a test pilot, and he's talking to this person who works at the station, who is now working for the rebellion. And they have this really interesting conversation, I'd say, right? Where in season 1, we had Luthen give this whole speech about like, it doesn't really like, he has to do things that are bad, right? In order to make a better future for other people. And, he says the whole line about like, he's fighting for a sunrise that he'll never see kind of thing, right? And Cassian is kind of giving a similar speech or whatever to this young woman who works for the Empire but is now been recruited by the rebellion in some way, shape, or form. And she's asking like, if I die tonight, was it all worth it? Like, she's kind of scared, and Cassian is, he's bringing her back to earth, and he's like, like this stuff right here, like this makes it worth it, like fighting for something common, right, and doing all the whatever. And so like there's a lot of interesting things within that conversation.
Yeah. Sets the
Um,
tone. It sets the tone for the whole show. I think. I think it's really sets the tone.
yeah, and you talk. I'm sure you have a lot to say, maybe about this. So I'll let you, if you want, talk
I don't
about
have a lot. No, I don't.
not that conversation about the TIE Avenger.
Oh, what would I have to say?
I don't
It looked
know.
really fucking. It
It's
looked
the
really
first
fucking
time we see
badass.
it in a live action
Yeah.
show, right?
I have some. Well, I'm not like the deepest Star Wars nerd, so yeah, there's a lot of TIE variants that don't get like put into the lore that a lot of people don't talk about. I think the main one for me is the TIE Defender. I think the TIE Defender is a very sexy looking ship, with its like triple prongs and everything like that, and it just looks really cool. The TIE Oppressor, the TIE Breacher, which is really cool. It's like a TIE bomber on steroids and stuff like that. The TIE Avenger is really cool. Like it's kind of like a mid. It's like a
It's an
advanced.
interceptor on steroids.
Yeah, it's a TIE Interceptor on steroids, and it's also like kind of like it's a superiority fighter, and it's just good. It's just yeah. I'm really excited. I don't know what else to say. Like I'm not the biggest like TIE fan guy. Like I would like to
Oh
see
yeah,
like a show with like a bunch of B-wings doing really cool shit.
yeah.
That'd be really dope. That'd be really dope for me. But I think it looked great the entire time. Like the CGI here and like the looks of everything is just absolutely on point.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Everything
yeah,
looks beautiful.
yeah, absolutely.
Um. So yeah, and to that point, right? Like it's a ship we've never seen before, right? It looks like an interceptor, but it's its own ship, right? It's a TIE Avenger. And just like we are unfamiliar with it, Cassian is also very unfamiliar with it. So he's trying to learn how to fly the thing. The blast doors start closing. He sucks at flying. He just shoots his way out of there. And you get this cool little chase scene for a bit before he escapes the planet.
Yep.
Then you kind of transition to Bix and Cassian's old colleagues from Ferrix. And she's having nightmares, because she was tortured for like the entirety of season 1.
Yep.
So she's traumatized. You also have Mon Mothma, who is home on Chandrila, planning for her daughter's wedding. And Luthen shows up, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Cassian ends up going to make the drop, right? He's like they're obviously stealing the ship for a reason. He goes to make the drop, and he gets ambushed by a bunch of amateur rebels. And then we have this sequence that I think for people who aren't into Star Wars is probably really boring. But I didn't find it boring, and I'm sure you didn't find it boring, right? With Director Krennic assembling all these ISB
that
agents.
I don't think you watch that scene and be bored. I think if you watch that scene, you're bored. You can't be.
You have
like,
to be lost. Like you have to not understand what you're watching.
Well, it's not even that. Like you have to that was kind of the point at the beginning, like when he was playing that movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole point was like you would naturally be lost, and then you would eventually he would explain what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I think that whole sequence was really well done. I think that everything to do with the ISB is going to continue to be fantastic, and I can't wait for more.
Yeah. So he shows this video of this planet called Gorman, which is well known for the Gorman spider, which creates the silk that it's used to make clothing and luxury products and all this stuff. But they're not interested at all in the Gorman spider. They're interested in Calkite. And they want to try to extract Calkite from the planet. And I don't remember what exactly it's used for, but it has something to do with... I know it's for the Death Star, but it's like for cooling rods or some shit. I don't remember what they said. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. Because we watched this last week, and now it is like a distant memory.
Now it is a week ago.
Yeah, that's my problem. That's my problem. Like, and I watched them all back to back because, of course, I'm gonna fucking watch them all back to back.
Right. Same. Yeah. But yeah. So, they want to extract the Calkite, but it could potentially make the planet unstable. So it's a huge risk. And they're trying to figure out how they're going to properly do this. And so, of course, it's the Empire. The first thing they jump to is propaganda, right? They try to get the propaganda machine working. But Dedra has other ideas, of course. She believes that they should start a radical insurgency where you could essentially have rebels within the planet that you can rely on to do bad things when you need them to, as an excuse for the Empire to do whatever it needs to do.
Yep.
Yep, Luthen is on Chandrila still. He's just casually getting all the info he needs from all the drunk people at the party. The groom who's marrying Lita talks about he's like part of the Imperial Navy or something, and they got moved off of one of these planets. And he's like, "Really? Where are you going?" He's just like getting all the information he could ever want. And then you got this guy Tay, right? Tay Kolma, I believe his name is, who's Mon Mothma's like childhood best friend. And apparently things haven't been going too well for him recently with business, and he helps run the foundation that they run all the money through for the rebellion. And apparently his wife has separated from him recently, and he's having all these problems. And, you know, that's not good because he might go tell somebody about the rebellion. So there's that. And then at the end of the episode, the amateur rebels all start killing each other.
Yeah, that whole sequence is fucking hilarious because everyone's like, "Where's Andor? Where's Andor?" He's like going through this like really funny misadventure, like this fantastic misadventure, you know, which I thought it was like really like just a really funny way for things like just to happen to him. Like, you know, like he gets picked up on the street randomly in the first season, and that's how the whole prison sequence starts, right?
Yeah.
Like this one, like he crash land, like he just crash lands, and he's trying to meet his like contact. And there's some other rebels here because their fucking ship got busted or something like that. Now he's like, they think he's like a TIE pilot, and they're rebels, and it's just all fucked up.
Yeah, they're so
like,
stupid.
Yeah,
like,
they are really stupid though. That's like the point. Like
Yeah.
they keep doing all this stupid shit, and it's just really funny to watch.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm looking for my friend Parker, and they're like, well, we killed him because he shot at us. He's like, brother, he's on a mission. They're like, well, hey, who cares? And he's like, I'm with the rebellion too. And then Rika, or whatever the fuck her name is, like, oh, well, we found your helmet. You're lying. The fuck? What you mean you, like, obviously he was undercover. Of course he's going to have a fucking helmet. Jesus. Anyway. Oh, my notes for episode 2 are very small. So I don't remember everything, but essentially these are my notes. So the Imperials have shown up on I don't remember the planet's called, wherever Bix and Brasso and them are. The Imperials are there. They're doing an audit. They shut down all the comms. I really liked Mon Mothma's dress. That's the only note I put down. And Cassian does end up escaping with the help of a giant creature, and he just shoots the guy in the Avenger and takes off.
Yep, just escapes. He gets in contact with them.
Yeah, he ends up getting in contact with Luthen's partner, whatever her name is,
assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like starts screaming and yelling at her, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, and he's like, she tells him like, oh, the comms are shut down on something Rao, whatever the planet's called, I don't know. And so yeah, immediately he just goes there. I think that happens. I don't remember when that happens, but yeah. Episode 2 is mostly about the build up to the wedding, I think, and Mon Mothma starts unraveling a bit, if I remember correctly. And it's a lot of just like back and forth on.
Well, her daughter's like getting married to this douchebag that she like the Mon Mothma hates, and she doesn't want to go in with.
Mon Mothma hates the whole whatever cultural practice of marrying your like 15-year-old or 12-year-old or whatever off to somebody. I think she's entirely opposed to that in the first place, which is what prompts everything else. But then Lita's kind of a bitch to her about it. So and then it's just about the two warring sides now of this amateur rebellion. One is like stationed in Cassian's ship that was already on the planet, and then the others are within the TIE Avenger, and they're just going back and forth the whole time, and eventually they agree to some meeting where they put their weapons down and do some Rochambeau type of shit before the beast ends up coming and Cassian escapes. What else happened? I don't really remember much else. So the Imperials end up finding Bix and Brasso and them, but like they're just talking at this point. They're not doing the audit, and one of them is very fucking creepy and like makes some weird implications to Bix. And then in the next episode, tries to sexually assault her, which is very uncomfortable. Which it should be.
Yeah.
Right? Like they perfectly capture the feeling of that, right? Like that should horrify people and make you feel uncomfortable. And it's a very real kind of thing that happens, and especially happens in countries with corrupt leadership. I don't know another way to say that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, it's just he's a imperial, he's just a fascist pig, taking using his position of power to sexually assault women that he finds attractive. It's happened a couple times. It happened again in episode 3.
He does the full-on sexual assault thing, and she beats him in the face with a hammer. Thing.
I have my friend who said he actually made him really uncomfortable. He said it seems to happen a lot in movies these days. He started raping movies. That's what he said.
Yep.
I don't know. Me personally, I think that it's something it's a very intense topic, and everybody interacts with it differently, and it just depends on a whole bunch of factors. I think that you shouldn't use it too ham-fistedly, but it is also something that happens. It's reality, and movies are supposed to tell us something about our own reality. That is something that happens in reality, and seeing it in person is uncomfortable.
Yep, and it should be, right?
Yeah.
If you are a normal functioning human being and not a fucking psychopath.
Yep.
But yeah, and then episode 3, Mon Mothma tells her daughter that she doesn't have to go through with the wedding and that nothing really matters and all that. And then her daughter is very mean to her. Dedra, the ISB agent, she meets with the weird guy, Cyril. She meets with his mom. That's a very odd thing. And yeah.
Oh, that was his girlfriend, right?
Yeah,
he's having dinner with his mom and his girlfriend. That's not a weird thing, but
the guy is weird, right? In general,
he's quirky. He's quirky. Yeah, he's a quirky guy.
Yeah, and Dedra talks about how her parents were killed when she was 3, and she was raised by Imperials, which you have to take all this with a grain of salt in the way that don't go digging into canon and being technically, she's only 18 years old because the Empire's only been around for 18 years since she was 3 years old. Listen, she was probably raised in a rebel outpost, or not a rebel, Republic outpost, but she refers to it as an Imperial they call it kinder or whatever, right? Child's something. But it was probably Republic at the time. Now it's Imperial, right?
Yep.
Just how it is. But I did see some discourse around that. So she meets with Cyril's mom, and she tells his mom that she needs to think twice before she speaks, and that Cyril can only see her twice a month. And pretty much
she lays the law down.
Yeah, she lays it down. She's like, "Hey, this guy is an anxious ball of anxiety because of you, and you make him uncomfortable on purpose. You know what you're doing. You're trying to control him and be this and be that. And listen, you got to take a fucking chill pill." And it all ends up working out. Seems like Cassian. He got through to what's her face, and he found out about the signal blockade. So he speeds off. And Luthen gifted some unique statue that's a piece of Chandrila history for the wedding. And then the Imperials show up, and Bix, Brasso, and Will are getting ready to evacuate. And then you have your rapey Imperial officer thing. Brasso ends up dying, which is very sad. And the rest get out with Cassian. And then you have this, obviously, Take Homa guy who is potentially going to spill all the tea. And so Luthen is going to have him killed.
Yeah. Like, it's like Mom Mothma's like best friend, so she's like really upset about that.
Yeah. But hey, it has to be done. And then she's actually just getting drunk and raving the fuck out, you know?
Yep. Yeah, she is. That whole sequence is really good. That whole like the nightclub sequence after was pretty well. That was really well done.
Yeah. And it you know, it's you have to be able to let those things go, right? Like the reality is hitting Mon Mothma. I think that like in order to change how things are, in order to make things better, you have to be willing to give up everything and be willing to make really difficult decisions. And her best friend dying is one of those decisions, because if he doesn't die, he will spill the tea and everything they've been working for goes down the fucking toilet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but just because it's easy to understand that reality doesn't mean it's easy to accept that and it's easy to make those decisions. And so she's coping right now, you know, she's getting drunk and dancing around, and like raving to like, now that's what I call Chandrilla 2025. And so she's going through it, and we'll see what happens in the next couple episodes, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Well, we know Take Home is dead because Cinta is flying him around. Cinta doesn't leave survivors. She just straight up murders everyone. Yep. And in the first season, when they were breaking into the base, the Imperial base, and she had those Imperial officers tied up, she killed them. All right, she killed that mother sucker on Ferrix. She's killing Take Home. Okay, she don't leave survivors. So, anyway, yeah, I think Andor picks up where it left off. It's still great, and I think it'll only get better. And I'm happy it's back, and I'm excited to see more.
Same, like, you know, all the action is great. The show really feels of quality, like to a certain quality that I think that most people don't appreciate, especially that whole opening sequence and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't foresee there being any issues with the show, and it's probably just gonna keep getting better and better. And hopefully there's gonna be like a really cool scene towards the end or something like that, you know, something really cool. Like, what is the prison sequence going to be for this show? Like, right? Everyone remembers the prison from Andor. That's like one thing a lot of people remember, but what is like going to be the one thing that people like remember, you know, that the really people really take away from? I think we have yet to see. So I'm hoping they're going to do like some really cool space battle, but
yeah, I mean, it is crazy to see that like we get movie quality cinematics and CGI in this show, right? Like when you compare it to other like Disney Plus shows, like the graphics are really next level in the way that like we've never truly seen in a TV show like a tie. It's
like a movie.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of see it in maybe some other Star Wars projects, but it's like it's very high quality, like space, you know. But when Andor is escaping in the TIE Avenger in the first episode and he's being pursued, right? Like that's like high quality movie standard CGI. So it was really good to see that they can make all that stuff work. So
yep, absolutely.
Anyway,
you got Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith
was really good. That's it. That's what I have to say. Yeah. Aside from the crowd aside.
Yeah. Well, also for people who haven't watched it, you and I are both big proponents of it. Anybody who hasn't watched Tartakov, whatever his name is, the original Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
Like it leads directly into Revenge of the Sith.
Yes, it does. I
Um,
knew exactly what was going on. I felt so fucking smart when I went in the theater. I was like, oh my god, I know exactly what's going on.
yeah,
Like,
you know why Grievous is coughing. You know why
Yep.
what's going on with Palpatine. You kind of understand some of the jokes about, well, not jokes, but like when Anakin mentions like being on the outer rim,
Hmm.
and why he hasn't seen Padme in a while. Um, you know,
So you
different
gotta
things
get.
like that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So it's great. It's great. So if you haven't watched it, you could maybe skip. I think in Disney Plus, it's like a 1 hour like parts. You could probably skip the first hour if you care more about.
That's what I'm gonna do tonight. I'm gonna watch that fucking show. I'm not gonna watch Andor. I can watch Andor whenever. I'm gonna try and watch Andor on like Friday or Saturday or something, so I don't fucking forget it all before our next show.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna watch the Clone Wars tonight because I heard that. I always forget at the beginning of the show. There's that stomping noise or the marching noise, of all the boots stomping together and everything like that.
Hmm.
And it's just like, oof, man, that show is really good. They had like jousting like on
Yeah.
speederback for no
Yeah.
reason other than because it looked really fucking badass.
Yeah.
So and Dirge was there.
Yeah.
Freaking Dirge is cool as hell.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the lightsaber, like a lot of the Jedi are just OP, right? Like doing OP
Yep.
shit, but it's because it's a TV show, so it doesn't really matter. But it's really cool. It's really cool, and it's just like an exciting thing to watch, and especially
Yep.
because like it, if anybody's ever like, oh man, I would have really liked to see like the Siege of Coruscant where Palpatine gets taken prisoner, like, well, there it is. It's right there.
It is. It was,
Yep.
extra badass.
Yep. And because a lot of people question like things about Grievous too. It's like a lot of the kind of stuff that you might ask is in that show. So, it's great. It's great. Anyway, anything else? Anything else?
Nope. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
Nope. I have nothing else. So we will wrap up. Much love, everybody. Like, review, comment, rate, subscribe. I don't know. Do the things. We'll see you next time and talk about Thunderbolts next week or Saturday. Are we going to talk about Saturday? Maybe. Something like that. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Bye.
Bye.